So what comes inside the box? We have our ThinkPad setup guide, and we also have our ThinkPad safety and warranty guide. We're going to put that to the side. We have our power cable and our power adapter. Let's hook up these guys together. Done. The power adapter is a 65 watts. Awesome. And it's a Type-C connection. Cool. Hey guys, welcome back. This is Bernard from the BTN HD, and as you saw at the very beginning of the video, a super quick unboxing of the ThinkPad T480s, which is considered an Ultrabook, weighing around 2.90 pounds. It's super light due to the fact that the entire body of the case material is made out of PC ABS plastic. But one of the things I do not like about this Ultrabook is that it is super expensive. Okay, so like I mentioned, it's very expensive. Why is it so expensive? So let's check out the site. Let's go directly to Lenovo. And the starting price for the T480s is $1,040. $1,040. That is super expensive. And I believe on their site, they're considering this a school laptop. Who in the hell wants to buy a laptop that much? That's nuts. That's crazy. Now, there's other models that you're able to purchase. That's the starting price. The most expensive one that they're selling right now is around $2,200, $2,300. What? Super expensive. And they're putting a student bundle. Now, what are the specifications? What are you paying for? Now, let's go inside tech specs. You're definitely going to get an 8th generation processor. The highest that you could go is i7 with an 8650U. Clock speed is 1.90, but you could go up to 4.20 gigahertz with Turbo Boost, which is cool. Primary operating system is Windows 10. For the graphics, this is where it gets a little awesome because you could get the integrated Intel Ultra HD Graphics 620, but you could also customize the T480s with an NVIDIA GeForce MX 152 gigs graphics card. Cool. For webcam, you got the 720 HD camera with a Think shutter, which is cool, or you could get the IR camera. I think the model that I've been reviewing for you guys is the one with the 720p and the Think shutter, which is pretty awesome. For memory, it looks like you could only go up to 24 gigs. That means 2 DIMMs. You got 1 on board and 1 socket. Now for storage, the highest that you could go is 1 terabyte solid state drive. The battery, they do state 15.6 hours, but I'm going to show you guys my results pretty soon. Now for display, it does come with a beautiful 14.0 Full HD with a resolution of 1920 by 1080 display. I think the one that I have is the anti-glare with the 250 nits. Right now, this is the highest on brightness, and this is the lowest right now. It's not that bad. I'm still able to see the website and everything. In the background, the taskbar. Let's go all the way up again. Cool. But you are able to customize it with multi-touch. I don't like multi-touch laptops that much. If you spend a little bit more money, you could get the one with the resolution of 2560 by 1440. That one would give you 300 nits, which is pretty good. I think the model that I've been reviewing for you guys, if I right-click on the taskbar and go to Task Manager, the specs that I've been reviewing, it works. It works for me. I was able to do a lot of Photoshop, a lot of rendering with Premiere. I was capable of using OBS Studio and streaming Twitch as well as recording locally with no problem. Let's right click on the CPU, go to change graph to logical processors. It has 8 cores, actually it has 4 cores with 8 logical threads, which is a quad core processor. This one is an i5-8250U with a clock speed of 1.60, and I think you could go up to 3.4. Okay, for memory, it only has 8 gigs, but 8 gigs is enough for me. For hard drive space, you only have about a 256 gig solid state drive. It's a Samsung model. And for graphics, unfortunately, I did not get the GeForce one. I did just get the basic Intel Ultra HD Graphics 620, which works with no problem. This particular model comes with 2 Type-C ports and allows me to hook up a 4K monitor. I was able to hook up my BenQ 4K monitor to one of the Type-C ports and was able to just get full resolution, which is pretty awesome. Like I mentioned before, the T480s has two Type-C ports, which allows you to hook up an external monitor. I was able to hook up my BenQ 4K with no problem, but it does have other ports. Now, if you have the laptop facing you to the point that is open up, on your right-hand side, we have one 3.1 USB port. Right next to that, we have our vent system that kind of releases that hot air. On the left-hand side, we have our SD card reader. We have one audio combo jack, which allows you to hook up your mic or a headphone set. We have an additional 3.1 USB always on charging, which is pretty cool. When you plug in your iPhone or any device that needs to get charged, the laptop itself is going to give you a dialog box to enable the feature to charge it when the laptop is turned off. Right next to that, we have our HDMI ports. Next to the HDMI, we have one RJ45 or your Ethernet port. And last but not least, we have our two Type-C ports. Now, this Type-C port right here allows you to hook up your ThinkPad docking station to extend your ports and connections. And this one right here allows you to hook up your power adapter. Now, one of the things I love about ThinkPads is the keyboard. The keys itself, it feels extremely nice on the fingertips. The distance between each key is around, if you take a nickel and a dime, that's your distance. It felt really comfortable when I was typing. I didn't make a lot of mistakes, but that's a huge plus when you have a lot of space between all the keys. The keyboard is backlit, which is a huge plus for me. Another thing that I do not like about the keyboard is that a lot of these ThinkPads in the market have the function key and the control key in the wrong place. Don't get me wrong, Lenovo does provide you an application called Vantage that allows you to launch it up. And if you go to hardware settings and go inside inputs and you go all the way right here to function key and control key swap, it allows you to turn it on. What it does, it kind of swaps the control key to the function key and the function key to the control key. Now, another thing I love about the ThinkPad, and I'm not really stressing out only the T480s, is that all ThinkPads should have this. It has a fingerprint scanner, which allows me to log in into the computer. It's an additional security layer. You could add a password, a PIN. Some ThinkPads allows you to do face recognition, which is awesome, and also a fingerprint. I have seen a couple of ThinkPads in the market that does not have a fingerprint scanner. That kind of sucks. For me, I feel like all ThinkPads should have that feature, and for the T480s to have it, it's a huge plus for me. Now, the trackpad on the T480s was a little bit of a disappointment. I did not like the way it felt on my fingertips. It kind of felt kind of rough, like kind of, I don't know, it felt like sandpaper to me for some reason. I did have a lot of problems, like the mouse was like moving, like right now it's moving. It's like moving, it's happening, that's awesome. Because every time I was trying to grab my camera to record it, it stopped. But it gets to the point like the mouse starts moving across the screen. That's a huge problem for me. If you do purchase this laptop, keep in mind on that issue. But one of the things I do like about the trackpad is the measurement. It has a nice little real estate. If you take about 4 pennies and 1/4, that's the distance that you're going to have on the trackpad, which allows you to do a lot. Okay, so we spoke about the keyboard and the trackpad. How about the beautiful 14.0 Full HD IPS anti-glare display with a resolution of 1920 by 1080? The display itself works. I love the size. It's very comfortable. To me, it's a little small when you're dealing with Photoshop and you have a lot of panels, or when you're dealing with Premiere and you need to have like multiple panels. It was really difficult using those programs with the small display, which is okay. Now, for brightness, this is the brightest that this machine could go, and this is the lowest. The T480s, I think the nits is around 250, but you are able to purchase one with 300 nits, which is pretty good. Now, on top of the display, you have a 720p HD webcam. This particular model that I've been reviewing for you guys has the Think Shutter. You are able to upgrade the T480s with the IR camera, but that's going to cost a little bit more money. One of the things I did not like about the camera is that the footage, when I was using it, I recorded with this particular laptop, and when I rendered it out, the footage on the webcam looks really grainy for some reason. Now, for the microphones are located right here. I did have a little bit of audio issues. It really depends on the location of the laptop. It does pick up everything. My end results with the microphone and the footage that I recorded, it felt like I was inside a warehouse, and that's not really good. So let's conclude our review on the T480s from Lenovo. Let's talk about the battery. For battery, I like to run PC Mark 8. And on my first test with PC Mark 8, I got around 5 hours and 14 minutes. My second test, 4 hours. And on my last test, 5 hours and 46 minutes, which is not that bad. Now, in between each test, I like to charge it up 100% before I start the test. And I like to track how long the battery takes. Now, for the T480s, it took around 2 hours and 18 minutes to get full 100% on battery life. Now, I started with 16%, and for me, 2 hours is a long time, especially that the T480s has a Type-C power adapter connection. You would think you would get maybe like an hour, but 2 hours and 18 minutes, that's a long time. Now, for my fourth test, I like to take it home and use it as a regular user, nothing special. I got around 5 hours and 7 minutes. I think if I'd have changed the settings, maybe lower the brightness and go inside the battery right here and change it all the way to, battery saver, I could have got maybe 6, 7, maybe 7.5 hours. I had better performance as the default, because when you unplug it, that's what you're going to get by default, better performance. I did notice that the T480s produces a lot of heat in this area right here, a lot of heat. It gets extremely hot. You are able to use it on your lap. It's not going to get hot enough that it's going to burn your lap. It will get a little bit uncomfortable with all the heat that it's producing. Now, I did mention that the T480s did have some issues with the trackpad, with the mouse moving on its own. I did have other issues. Very common with the ThinkPads that I've been testing out with you guys, and that's with Adobe Premiere. When you're rendering videos for some reason, or when you're viewing videos within the source monitor, it looks green. The only way to get that fixed is if you change the project settings into software-based rather than GPU-based. Another issue that I found is that the SD card slot was not working on the T480s. What's the deal, Lenovo? So the mouse moves by itself. I had issues with Premiere. SD card slot wasn't working at all. It was very frustrating. Now, to end the video on a good note, one of the things I do like about the T480s is that it comes with a SIM slot at the back of the laptop, which allows you to get a SIM card. You can hook it up and go mobile 24/7 with no problem. That's cool. Now, hopefully you guys enjoyed this review on the Lenovo ThinkPad T480s. If you have any comments or concerns, leave them at the bottom. Don't forget about hitting that like button, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.